Good morning, Jennifer. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good, good. I want to introduce you to. I want to introduce you. This is Jennifer Hunsecker, and she is one of the volunteers that the board was able to acknowledge this month for the work that she is doing with our church. Jennifer, welcome. We're so excited to spotlight you.
Thank you.
Um, Thank you for being here. And thank you to Judy Lane, who is doing our video recording. Thank you, Judy, for your help today. Jennifer, tell us about your work with the church and what you've been doing.
Sure. I'm going to get the committee name wrong. The committee, I think, on healthy relations was doing a survey of the church membership and people who come to the church also. So I just helped out with question wording and questionnaire design because that's something that I do at work and something that I have a couple years experience doing.
That's right. That's right. So this is really kind of aligned with your skill base in doing that. I had kind of forgotten that. I figured I know that you're interested in kind of our relationships and having everybody, engaged and involved in the church. But that little piece about what you do for work slipped my mind. So I'm so glad that we were doing this interview. Um, we really appreciate all that you've done because we had last month we had Ms. Doris talking to us about this survey, we really were able to put the questions together and get the survey results back, and those survey results have been shared with everyone. Have you tell us a little bit about what brought you to our church and kind of your experience? How long have you been a member with us or been involved with the church?
Not exactly sure. I think it's been 5 years, but that could just be totally wrong. I think that's accurate because I came before I had my son. So maybe it's been 5 or 6 years. I'm not sure because he just turned 4 last week. So I came to the church because a long time ago when I moved to Tampa, I listened to WMNF a lot and I would hear advertisements for concerts at the UU Dome.
Yes.
So I had some familiarity with it from WMNF. And then after I had my daughter, Zora, I decided that it was important for her to belong to a church community. And so I was looking for one that aligned with my values. So I had initially started looking at, there she is. I had initially started looking at Christian churches because of being raised Catholic, but the major issue I found with those was that there were issues around accepting people who were LGBTQ. So then I moved on to there she is.
Hi, Zora. How are you?
Then I moved on to the UU church.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you've been here for 5 years. It's wonderful. And so we're doing these interviews. We wanted to see if you had any ideas or encouragements or for those who haven't joined or in volunteering or who are interested in joining in volunteering.
I think just let people know, the skills that you have and how you see that fitting in is what's helpful. I had mentioned to Karen Zindel that I have a lot of experience with surveys because that is something I do as part of my job. Probably not always something I'm talking about at church just because who wants to think about work at church, but I mentioned it to her in the context of something else that we were talking about. And so she helped connect me. And so that was how I was able to get involved because otherwise, you and I talk a lot, Lisa, and it wasn't even something that came to your mind because of course,
Right.
not something I bring up very much because, I don't really want to get into a deep, long conversation with people about survey survey construction and questionnaire design because it's not the most exciting topic. I just think letting people know what you have an interest in and what you have skills in, and then mentioning that wherever you see it coming up is a good thing to do.
That's a great fit. That's wonderful. Have you had experiences in other volunteer opportunities around the church, or what other kind of things do you guys do?
Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, the child who just interrupted and then the other child who I was making faces at when we were in person, would drag me into RE. So I kind of became an involuntary volunteer in RE.
Yes.
So, and that's how I know both you and Judy a little bit.
Yes.
Obviously
Yeah.
other contexts too, but that's where I've talked to you all the most because you also have been volunteers there. I also for 2 years volunteered with the Pledge to End Racism group. So we put on workshops and trainings for people, and then that kind of disbanded. And so now it's kind of just me and a couple other people. And so we've done a little bit of like, I don't know, ad hoc stuff where we have talked to people about racism over the last probably 6 to 8 months.
Yes. Well, all of those are wonderful experiences. As a mom, I share your experience in my engagement in RE. It's a lot of times where we find ourselves as moms, as parents, spending a lot of our time. So it's nice that you've been able to come out and find some of your own ability to 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 connect in other ways. I know as a mom that's nice too, is to do that. But a lot of times you'll find us in REs.
Yeah.
So, well, is there any other than, I thought that was a great suggestion that you had, is just kind of bringing up things that you're interested in and sharing that with others along the way, to find your matches. But any other advice or anything else that you'd want to share about your experiences before we finish up this afternoon?
Nothing off the top of my head. Just don't be afraid to bring what you know and to share it, because I'm a big believer that diversity is really important to having great ideas and to you know expanding our horizons. So
Yeah.
even if you have different kinds of thoughts or experiences or background, I don't think that's a reason to shy away from offering your information, experiences, expertise, what have you, to other people. Other than that, not really.
Well, that's pretty sage advice, Jennifer, for a church community, really. So I think that's so well said. So I certainly can see why the board has, expressed their appreciation for you over the last month, but over the years of the things that you've done, you really do bring a nice perspective and a nice voice into our community. And when I say nice, I don't mean nicey nice, right? We have to be willing to speak up and speak out, and I think that's really important. So we really appreciate having you as a member of our church. I'm sure that I share that sentiment with the board in saying that. So thank you for joining us today and sharing. And hopefully you'll get to meet some new people when we get back in person, or we're in some Zoom groups. I'm sure some folks will say, "Hey, wait, I remember meeting you there." So don't be surprised. All right. Well, thank you very much, and everybody have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Thank you.